It is another Therapy Thursday. Come on into the room. It's another Therapy Thursday. We jamming today.
Yes.
We need a little music. I need a little music in my soul today, Lord. I need a little music. Yes. Well, welcome. I am Dr. Triffy. I am coming to you live from Atlanta, Georgia. It's another Therapy Thursday. And on Therapy Thursdays, I like to show up, and sometimes I bring lovely guests to have healing conversations with me that I hope teach us all something that help us think better, feel better, and do better. The aim of a healer is to assist, to help, to stand in the gap for people who are trying to transform their trauma, hopefully into passion, into purpose, into promise, sometimes even a little bit of profit. Okay? Yes. So I want to welcome my lovely guest today. Her name is Marcia. Today, look, we're talking about a subject that you would have to be blind not to see it on TikTok, on Facebook, on YouTube, because everybody's got something to say about this. Everybody's got something to say about this. So for those of you who, as you come in, look, let us know where you're listening to us from. If you listen after this live, let me know where you listen to me from. Drop a comment, share the post, share the live, share the video, because we're learning that sharing is caring on these internet streets.
Exactly.
So share, okay? Like I said, today's topic is awesome. It's powerful. It's very important. And I wanted to bring a guest on today to support me in the information that we're going to be sharing. I had a lovely young lady reach out to me on Saturday night, right before Mother's Day, where everybody is gung-ho about Mother's Day. And she, though, was in pain and deep suffering, wondering, do I even wish my mother a happy Mother's Day? And so I thought I would offer you this topic tonight, which is help. I think my mom is a narcissist. And so I'm going to hand the talking stick for a little bit to our guest to introduce herself to us. So, lovely lady, who are you? What do you do? How can you support us today?
Well, hello. I'm so glad to be back on Therapy Thursday. I am Marcia Blaine, a licensed professional counselor in the Jonesboro area. I am a certified clinical hypnotherapist, and I'm a life coach. So combining all those things in with my skill set, I had the pleasure of talking to counselors about narcissism. And the reason why it's so important is because it's really easy for people to be confused. And there is an echo. I'm going to unplug and see if we can get rid of that.
Yes. Hi, Edith. Yes, y'all, we do hear a little bit of an echo. We're going to try to work on that. So I want to talk to daughters, especially of narcissistic mothers tonight. I have a few questions already for the audience. Okay. Does it feel to you as if your mom is in competition with you? There's one question to think about. Is your mother one of those people who you think is always trying to guilt trip you into doing things that maybe you're not comfortable with, and she won't take no for an answer? Those are a couple questions. I see Marcia already nodding her head. So Marcia, we're going to dive in. Yeah. So tell them a little bit about your background. You were there in the middle of that qualifies you to share on this topic.
So and we're sticking. I'm gonna try to phone my phone.
Yes. Transfer to your phone.
1 second.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna close out. I apologize.
Yeah, that's fine. Come on in, y'all. We work in the tech. Come on in, share the live, so everybody knows that I'm on, we're on. This is a very important topic because it is such a painful issue for so many people. Oh, also, I want you to think about this. You might not have a mother who's a narcissist, but you might have a spouse, you might have a boyfriend, you might have a husband, you might have a good friend, that by the time you hear some of these characteristics, you'll be able to say, boom, I need to watch myself and I need to learn some other ways, some more efficient ways of dealing with this person so that I don't feel always just overrun and overwhelmed. Yes, come on in, y'all. Come on in. I was asking a little earlier, is your mother, and we're focusing on the narcissistic moms today, but again, like I said, that information is pertaining to other human beings who show up with that kind of way about themselves, and it's made up of so many different traits. Okay, I'm going to pull Marcia back in. She is on her phone. Go ahead, Marcia. Go ahead and talk. Let's see if we can hear you clearer.
No echo.
Can you all hear an echo? Type in the chat. Let us know if you can hear an echo, because we really want you all to get this information today. Type in the chat. Let us know if you heard an echo from Marcia this time.
Can you hear me?
I hear you well. I don't see any comments saying there's an echo. Go ahead. Somebody says, yes, there's an echo. Echo. This is interesting, right? The word echo. Echo is interesting because the word narcissism, which is what we're talking about tonight, comes from a story, a Greek
mythology.
Yes, from Greek mythology. I'm going to read you all the story while we work this echo situation out. Echo must be trying to talk to us. So let me tell you all the story of how the word narcissist even came into play, right? There's a story of a young fella called Narcissus. Narcissus was a hunter in Greek mythology. He was the son of the river god Cephissus and the nymph Liriope. He was a very beautiful young man, and many people fell in love with Narcissus. However, he only showed them disdain and contempt. One day, while he was hunting in the woods, the nymph called Echo. The nymph called Echo spotted him, and immediately Echo fell for Narcissus. When Narcissus sensed that somebody was following him, because little Echo is following this lovely vision she just fell in love with, Echo eventually revealed herself and tried to hug him. However, he pushed her off and told her, "Girl, get out of here. Do not disturb me." In despair, Echo roamed around the woods for the rest of her life and wilted away until all that remained of her was her echo sound. I find it curious that we're having the echo today. All that remained of the poor little sweet girl was an echo sound. Now, here's the thing. In life, there is always punishment, right? You do good, you get good. You do terrible, you get terrible back as a way for your punishment. So Nemesis was the goddess of retribution. What does Nemesis do? She's the goddess of retribution and revenge. She learned what had happened to poor Echo and decided to punish Narcissus for his behavior. Here's what she did. She led the fine young thing, to a pool, and there he looked into the pool and saw his reflection. He saw his reflection, and in his vanity fell in love with his reflection. So of course in the beginning he doesn't realize this is my reflection, this is not really me, right? When he finally understood it, he himself fell into despair that he would never be able to really love a reflection. The reflection is not the real me. What did he do?
He died.
Suicide. That's right. Yeah, committed suicide. So I wanted to share. It's just I'm serendipitous in a way that I have the story here about Echo and Narcissist, and what we're dealing with in the beginning of our program is an echo. So thank you, all of you. You've been very kind and patient. Keep sharing the live. Keep sharing the live. I see you all coming in. Come on in. Go ahead, Marcia. Let's see if we can hear you better right now.
Hopefully we can. It's still an echo.
It's still a little bit, but you look bright and beautiful and clean and clear. I'd love to hear what you guys say. Yeah.
I wanted to piggyback for just a minute on the history of narcissists.
Yes.
His parents were actually told that if he did not see himself, he would have a long, prosperous life.
So if he did not see his reflection, he would have a long and prosperous life. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. And the thing was, he had a twin sister who had the same beauty. So he would also not look at her.
Oh, to get a sense of what he looked like.
Because he was being ruled by men and women.
Yeah.
And he would push them away, like you said.
Yeah.
And
so men and women loved him.
Because they saw him beautiful in their sight. He at that point had never seen himself.
So I guess the what you call it, the contract was that to keep that beauty and to be prosperous, he had never to see his reflection. But then he just couldn't resist.
Well, no, he was lured to the water.
Yeah. Oh, she got him. Oh, Nemesis got him. Got you.
Yeah.
Oh, she got him.
And then the thing that's so beautiful about that is, after he died, here comes this beautiful narcissist plant, the tulip.
Yes.
That so many people love.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't know the history of where it came from.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I am so interested in learning more about narcissistic behavior. What does it mean? Why do you think there's such an abundance of people in a way coming up and out talking about it? So Marcia, guys, when Marcia gives the information, I'll also repeat some of it so that you can hear, for those of you who cannot hear her. So I'll be a translator. How about
that? Thank you very much.
Because I really want you all to get this information. I think especially when we get to the part of coping skills, like ways to really manage people like that in our lives, because they are so present and their presence is so heavy and impactful on us. Yes.
I'm going to quickly take you all through the psychological side of narcissism before we really jump deep into the mammals. Psychologically, narcissistic traits can be a way for self-preservation. It's when you go over the top. When that narcissistic behavior, the manipulation, the guilt, the ability to discard people, that's when it gets crazy. Right?
So initially, narcissistic behavior can be a way for people to really take care of themselves.
Yes.
What
we found, or what the founders research, is that narcissistic traits actually allow to survive especially for those that survived traumatic childhood.
Oh, I can
They had
see
to
that.
believe in themselves.
Yes.
The problem was that they were fighting so hard to get attention. When they got it was like Narcissist seeing himself.
Got you. So
And
the
so-
narcissistic person starts off as a child.
Mhm,
Yeah, as a child who's just trying to survive
mhm.
in a really painful environment.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. And some of that painful environment, when we think about moms, it's moms who are helicopter moms. It's moms who put on that face in public, oh, my baby, I'm so proud of you. But then they get you home and express how they hate they gave birth to you because you're a disappointment.
yeah.
And
So-
then,
Yes, so you're talking about the two faces of a narcissistic mother, where perhaps in public, in front of everybody else, you're the best. Oh, my baby's so smart, my baby's so good. But then behind closed doors, it's essentially hell. You're this, name calling,
a lot of it too, you opened with this question. You said, is it possible for a narcissistic mother to be jealous? Absolutely. Because when this little girl comes along, that attention that mom was getting has decreased. So you're not a daughter, you're competition.
So that's where I think girls who are raised by narcissistic mothers seem to fare worse. Like they seem to have a worse time of it than the boys who grow up in that household, because the narcissistic mother is so often in competition with the daughter, is so often looking at the daughter as a threat, that her behavior towards the daughter is amplified even more so than towards a son that's growing up with a narcissistic mom.
There was a survey that was completed of 638 participants. Out of the 638, 46% of mothers, which is the highest percentage, were narcissistic.
What? Wow.
So
but that's so counterintuitive, though. Okay, so Marcia, you just said, like, out of a survey of 638 mothers, 46% in one survey showed high narcissistic traits.
Correct.
Oh my goodness. That kind of seems out of line with what we think mothers are. We think mothers are kind and they do everything for us.
And nurturing.
Yeah. Wow.
And you asked the second question. You said, do you feel like there's been an increase in the conversation?
Yeah.
There has been. And the reason is we in the Generation Xers, we were told, regardless of what your mama was like, that's your mama.
Yeah.
You have to respect her. Don't talk back. Don't talk down. Whatever she does, that's your mama. Take care of her.
Yeah.
Generation Z is saying, wait a minute.
Yeah.
My mom's a fraud. She talks down. She puts on this face, but she'll compete with me.
Yeah.
And it hurts.
Yeah, ouch. So you think it's a generational switch up where people from our generation, we were taught, like we're in that kind of like that sandwich, that transition generation from the parents who everything your parents said was correct. And we came up and we kind of have a lot of that, but we were questioning them at least. But this generation, you're saying, is like, wait a minute, ouch, this hurts. Not gonna be quiet about it. I'm gonna speak up and let people know that yes, you present with the face in public, but behind closed doors, this is the name you call me. Right. I'm going to put you live on Facebook to let people see the way you're talking to me, how you're treating me. Ouch.
But that same little girl returns into her little girl moment. I just want my mommy.
Because she's, after all, a human being. So even though you understand some of the things you already said, which are, yes, people might develop narcissistic traits as a coping mechanism themselves. So that mother, that's perhaps as a result of her own childhood and the way she learned to survive. But here you are now, you're saying, I want no part of this. I'm going to speak up about it. But you lose mom, though, when you speak up.
And that's the reason why so many won't confront mom. Because they don't want to have the umbilical disconnect.
Oh my goodness. Ooh, that's a powerful word. Marcia just talked about an umbilical disconnect, which essentially, hey, we know we are not physically connected to our parents when we're adults, but there is that cord. There is that cord still, we feel that attachment. And when you deal with a narcissistic mother who, when you speak up, their personality, the ego is so fragile. It's so painful for a narcissistic mother that they're likely to cut you off.
Right. They discard. You become trash.
No,
when you gotta remember,
go ahead.
A narcissistic person has low self-esteem, are very vulnerable, and very sensitive.
Very vulnerable, low self-esteem,
and sensitive.
And very sensitive. Ow. So, but it seems though like they project themselves to be very, I got this, I'm good at it, I'm the best mom, I'm the you can't touch me. Yeah. Are you saying that's a facade and that's a front?
It is. And there are multiple categories of narcissism. Like
categories.
You have the malignant narcissist, who is right there with borderline personality disorder.
So malignant narcissist is number one.
Overt. They're loud. They're boisterous.
Loud, flamboyant, in your face. Yeah.
The covert. The one that's like, I'm gonna make you shine in front of people, but I'm gonna get you later.
Oh, the two-faced. The two-faced one, where in front of everybody else, they're the best mom, and behind the scenes, they're destroying you.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then you have the narcissist, who are somatic.
So tell me about that. Okay, somatic narcissist. That makes me think about those people who are we used to call hypochondriacs. We used to call them hypochondriacs, where they were they're sick about everything is sick. My body's hurting. They're always hurting. What is that?
Somatic narcissists are the ones you see in the gym and their body shaming. I have a client who her mom, small in stature, but she got with someone whose family is not quite as small.
Yeah.
But she'll shine in front of her daughter and then get her home and say, why are you eating it? You know you're going to gain more weight.
Oh, so the somatic narcissists are into the body shaming. Ooh.
Yeah. I wonder how many people are listening who recall never being pretty enough.
Yeah.
Never being fit enough.
Yeah.
And being reminded, you're too big.
If you lost some weight, you'd be more pretty.
Or you get a man, or you get a woman.
Yeah. Oh,
Mhm.
ouch.
And then you have the cerebral narcissist, the intelligent one.
Yes.
And they believe that they're intellectually higher than everybody else.
They're smarter than everybody else. They know
Mhm.
everybody else. Are those the name droppers who always?
Absolutely. And then they use words this long. My arms can't even stretch enough.
Big words. Yeah, the name droppers. Do you all know what's a name dropper? So a name dropper is that person in your life who they always know so and so. Oh, so and so's son is at Harvard. Oh, yes, I went to school and I was in first grade while they were in the 12th grade. Like they can go real hardcore with the name dropping. Oh, the president of the United States. I think I did my, what you call the ancestry DNA. We might be 658 cousins, Look, what you got? Somebody's saying that they're going through the grieving process of gray rocking their parents right now.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about gray rocking and the grieving that must happen? Is going to happen when you do start to maybe make a shift.
When you start establishing boundaries.
When you start establishing boundaries.
And expressing those. That grief process is where you find yourself fighting. These are my parents.
Yeah.
Versus prioritizing yourself.
Oof. Like that's real painful. That's like going against a lot of what we're taught to believe, because we're taught, number one, to respect and love our parents, even more so our moms. We're almost taught to put our moms on a pedestal. So when you have that kind of situation and you have to now finally speak up for yourself, and you dare to speak up to a mother like that, who, like you said, is going to throw you away. She's going to discard you because she's too hurt. She's too wounded because of that fragile ego. And then now you're grieving the loss because many of them are not interested in trying to really understand how to fix it, how to make it.
Exactly. And so what I would share is, as you're going through that grieving process, give yourself permission to feel that.
So give yourself permission to feel the grief and the sadness.
But don't allow yourself to get cornered into the guilt.
Oh, but avoid the guilt.
Avoid the guilt. And the reason why it's important to avoid the guilt, if a narcissist knows that you're feeling guilty about them discarding and you disconnecting, they're going to reel you back in.
Oh.
And you're back on the hook.
So if they realize that you're feeling guilty, then they use that. They use that to reel you back in into that powerless, almost like you belong to me. I saw a visual as I did the research for this of a mother having a child in a cage, essentially. Like, you are my little pet. You belong to me. Yeah.
And it hurts. What I would suggest is have at least, and I talked about this the last time, one naked person that you can pour out how you're feeling.
Yeah.
Let your naked person know you're not talking to them to validate your why. You're talking to them to release the toxins of that heavy relationship.
So you're just asking your friend to be there for you as kind of like a container. So you can pour out, you can speak up about it. You're not necessarily asking them to fix it or necessarily even to give you advice, because you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out.
And even if you don't figure it out, giving yourself that permission to disconnect is your first level of empowerment.
To disconnect from the parent. Yeah.
The truth is, you can't change a narcissist.
No, you cannot change a narcissist.
And if you have mom and dad has been pulled into that umbrella all of those years, He's not disconnected.
Oh my goodness. Oh, my heart. My heart. You know, I've seen this in many of my adult daughter clients who have narcissistic moms who have roped the father in. The father is basically at the mother's beck and call. He has been properly, he won't leave, properly groomed. And so to keep his wife happy, he will help the wife destroy the child. Yeah.
But he doesn't see it as destroying the child.
Yeah.
He sees it as leaving clean and make my wife happy.
Yeah. So he sees it as leaving cleave. So really there's another thing we're taught. We're taught that the couple in the family is priority over the children, essentially. And so regardless of what the child is coming to the couple with, you don't go against the other person in the couplehood. Many people are taught that as a value. Oh my goodness. Somebody's saying in the comments that she wasn't girly enough. And she was self-sabotaging for their emotional immaturities and their unwillingness to do things differently. Her parents used food to reel her back because she loved their cooking.
And with a narcissist, they're looking for your area of vulnerability.
Ooh, they're looking for your weak spots.
Yes.
Oh my.
Food was hers.
Yeah.
It could be an only child.
Yeah.
And the fear of living life alone.
Yeah.
Right? It could be a sibling. Right? And you and the sibling are really close until you decide to break away from the toxicity.
Yes.
So now I'm going to manipulate the sibling to pull you back in.
Yeah. No, that's interesting because many narcissistic mothers, and again, we're focusing on mothers, but you can apply these traits to other human beings. A narcissistic mother is prone to pitting siblings against each other, having one, let's say there are two of you, who's the scapegoat and one who's the golden child. Can you tell us a little bit more about that dynamic in the family? Yeah.
So you gotta remember, a narcissist thrives on being on the pedestal.
So they got to be up there. They're number one. Yeah.
And so that child that keeps them lifted on the pedestal becomes the golden child.
Oh, so the child is essentially the child that buys into their story the most, then, who keeps them up on the pedestal, becomes the favorite. Or maybe the child who learns to play the game best, because that child may not necessarily be really all up into it, but they've realized, oh, when I do this, Mom loves it.
How to survive.
Survival.
Right. But sometimes when you use those survival skills and they're not balanced, you're pulled in and you don't turn around.
What does that mean? So if you're pulled in and you don't turn around, what does that mean?
That means that you then are under the umbrella of a narcissist. You then will begin to demonstrate some of those same traits.
Got you.
So now you're looking down on your sibling.
Yeah.
Because now me and Mom are on this pedestal.
Right. So me and Mom now, that is so painful because I see so many of my clients over the years, right? Over this past, I'm having flashbacks essentially of these 26 years of doing psychotherapy where yes, and there's so much alienation and isolation because your little sibling who you used to play in the sandbox with, you guys were like a team against the world. It was you against the world when you were little itty bitty, but as time goes by, they find a way to divide and conquer the two of you. and you lose your siblings. Essentially, you lose that relationship.
But not for that, you lose a piece of you.
Can you tell me more?
Yes. So think about this. If your identity was enmeshed with your sibling,
yeah,
everything you knew, you all did together, you supported one another.
Yeah.
Mom comes in, swoops and take your sister or your brother, right?
Yeah.
To where you're left by yourself. Part of your connection, it's like being in the room with your twin.
Yeah.
Has now left.
Yes.
So here's this big void.
Wow.
So not only am I losing a relationship with my mom, now I'm losing a relationship with my sibling.
My sibling.
Now I'm questioning if I have work.
So that's where it starts getting at the core of the person going through this as a child, as a daughter, because you start, even my sibling, right, abandons me. What is my worth?
Right.
What is my value? Who am I? Who am I now that my almost twin has left me? Like, we go through breakups. I think sometimes we talk about these things and we can say it like as if it's a story. But when you try to relate this to your real life, practically everybody has experienced a breakup. Imagine a sibling breaking up with you. It is very painful.
And the person that is discarded.
Yeah.
Usually operates out of anger.
But anger from feeling, isolated, helpless, powerless, that flailing around like, help. I am so, I'm hurt and I'm sad. I'm terribly wounded. Somebody help me, rescue me, help me. And it looks often like anger and rage.
Like anger and a lack of trust.
Lack of trust. Ooh, okay. Put a pin in that lack of trust for me, because I sense my guess, and I say my guess because I'm not an expert on narcissistic behavior. There's so many areas in psychology you could focus on. This is not one I have focused on. Okay. You have the high points as a psychologist. Yes, I can look in the DSM and diagnose it. I know but these little pieces right here, you need people who are actually specialized in the treatment, right? So I'm a diagnostician. I might not treat narcissistic behavior necessarily as good as the next person. So I want to take this before I forget. The trust piece. Does that lack of trust now start generalizing to other people and life?
Yes. Because you got to remember, your first love connection is typically with your mother.
Your first love connection is with mom.
And when you're discarded, you're abandoned, you're made to compete.
Yeah.
You begin to believe no one else can love you since your mother couldn't. So
if
you don't
mom won't love me, who could love me?
So you don't trust when someone says, I love you.
Yeah.
I see you.
Wow.
You aren't your mama.
Yeah. Oh.
You're saying, I want to believe you.
Yeah.
But my mama discarded me.
Yeah. You're saying it up here. I want to believe you. But does your heart believe it? Because your heart has a different experience of the most powerful expression of love, saying, no, you're not good enough for me.
And so in that battle, you have to begin, like the young lady in the comments who had to make their break.
Yes.
You have to then go back on you and trust me first.
Oh, talk about some clinical hypnotherapy. You got to learn to go back. Okay, y'all. So what Marcia is saying is, if you're somebody who has an experience of a mother who has discarded you, of a mother who, once you started speaking, and saying, I am not feeling good with these words you use when you speak to me. I'm not comfortable. I don't like it when you do these things or you don't do certain things. When that person has come in and somehow said this behind your back to your sibling, and your poor sibling, of course, your sibling is in the same position as you. Who wouldn't believe their mom? Right. If my mom says it, it must be true. So of course your mom chooses, your sibling chooses mom and leaves you there now out in the rain to fend for yourself.
A sibling can see what mom's doing.
Sometimes
but may not have the wherewithal or the internal strength to disconnect too.
To disconnect. So sibling of course sibling is, but sibling is making a calculated choice. Hey, I've hedged my bets and it's going to be easier for me to take this route. I see you there bleeding, but I'm sorry, I can't, because if I come rescue you, she's going to discard me too. And that pain, I cannot take it.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. But I can almost guarantee you, if we go back into the history of mom, and go back into the history of grandma, and great grandma, we'll see a pattern of brokenness, of lack of value, and lack of choice.
So this stuff you're saying is often learned behavior. Is conditioned, learned and conditioned behaviors. There are many intergenerational patterns, lots of trauma in the family history that sometimes you as a child, you're not even aware of, because you and mom is again into presenting this facade of perfection that she's taught many of the daughters to emulate, but mom has perhaps never ever been vulnerable enough to express some of that history that might have contributed to these.
Because that would show a sign of weakness if she did.
That would show a sign of weakness. Ooh, and she's got it like that.
I've got to be on a pedestal.
Yeah.
I've got to be held high. You got to know that I'm your mom.
Yeah.
And you better not question. I can treat you anyway. That's why I hate that statement. I brought you in the world, I'll take you out.
Right.
Because what this telling me is there's an abuse of parental hierarchy.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. An abuse of parental hierarchy and power, and the power that the world has assigned to that position. Oh Lord. Okay.
Because can you imagine as a little girl who has put everything into mom and going through their own battles of trauma?
Yeah.
And mom has discarded them. Can you imagine what the world to become? Broken.
Yeah.
Hurt.
Yeah.
Incomplete.
Not properly parented. Not properly parented, supported, guided, led.
Yes.
Man. Somebody says, wow, you're connecting so many dots. And yes, I'm probably the black sheep or the scapegoat. And they point out the feeling of alienation and learning to fake it until they made it. Parenting themselves, essentially.
Right.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Your superpower in that alienation is loving you.
Oh, I got to say that out loud. So Marcia said, your superpower in those moments of alienation is loving you, loving yourself. Now, here's the thing. For a child who doesn't really understand that, what does that look like though? It's hard to, in your body, understand what love feels like. What does that mean though? Like, where does it just start?
When you're a little person, we pretend to be superheroes.
Yes, we do.
Right? We pretend to be princesses. So when you find yourself in those broken states, and I want everybody to take a moment and go back into your childhood. When someone said something to you and made you feel like you were less than, did you remind yourself you were a princess, superhero? I can do anything.
Yeah, I don't care about you.
I don't care what you say.
I don't care what you say.
You can call me ugly. I ain't ugly.
I ain't ugly.
Right.
I smart. Is important, right? Is what did Viola say?
You is smart.
You is smart.
You is beautiful, and you is imposing.
Okay.
And so those little children tap innocently into those princess and superhero moments.
Yes.
When we get older, we tend to forget that was our survival process.
Yeah. So as kids, it's way easier for us to go into our imagination and to connect to those archetypes. Those archetypes of I'm a princess. I don't care what you say. In my head, I know I'm awesome and special. I'm a superhero. But by the time we get to be like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and we're like, that's for babies. I'm not doing this anymore.
Exactly. Because we didn't recognize that it is actually a strong survival skill.
Yeah.
And so we began to act out. We began to beg for attention.
Yeah.
And when it crosses over into narcissism, it's because someone began to shower us in attention when we were acting out.
Oh, so you're saying that when we let's say we cannot tap into those parts of ourselves that can essentially rescue us, you know, then we start acting out, like overdoing, becoming overly dramatic, like intensifying, or think of you start acting on steroids, like the behavior becomes super big, loud, look at me, and then many of us get attention for that, and then we start associating that with, so that's how you do it.
And then the child will manipulate it.
How so? So a child will manipulate this.
My crying isn't getting you. So I'm going to go up to you and make you say, come on, baby. And so the message is, I can manipulate you.
Yeah.
And now I'm carrying that forward into my adult life.
And into my romantic relationships, which is where we play out all of that stuff with an unsuspecting partner who does not yet have this history, who piece by piece, every day they realize, oh my goodness, this is what was going on for you. And this is why it is so painful at times to be with you.
And when that unsuspecting partner tries to enrage you, you discard.
Oh, because because your ego is also fragile and tender, and there's not enough substance or maturity to withstand pressure.
Because you're taking away my ability to manipulate. Because you called me out.
Yeah. So are you saying then, so the narcissists in our lives, in our relationships, when we call them out, what do they typically do then?
They discard you.
They say, forget about you.
You're abandoned. You're no longer using them. Because remember, prior to the abandonment, you had them on a pedestal.
Yes.
And when you decided to snatch the pedestal down, they serve no purpose.
Oof. Okay, Marcia, there's a phenomenon called flying monkeys, where say you're in the relationship now and with a narcissistic person, you've grown up and you're the narcissist or somebody else is the narcissist, and you could be the narcissist, okay, in the relationship. Okay. And the person calls you out on bad behavior, on what doesn't feel good for them. Yes, you might have been on the pedestal. So now that they are seeing the real you, so to speak, that can hurt so bad for a narcissist that often they'll enlist other people.
It's a smear campaign. Because you got to remember, if you're feeding my ego, and you're vulnerable and easily manipulative, I'm going to make you believe that this person is trying to harm me.
Yes.
And knock me off the pedestal. So I need you to tell everybody what they're doing.
But the thing is, it does feel that way to a narcissist. If you're knocking a person off of their pedestal, which is where they feel power, which is where they feel power, it does feel like you're attacking them and you're trying to destroy who they are. So the narcissistic person now calls your auntie, calls your sister, calls their mom, calls their dad, calls all y'all's friends, and starts what's called a smear campaign. And they start saying, oh, she's this, she's not doing that, he's this, he's not doing that, I can't anymore, this is too much, they're hurting me.
I remember
somebody asked if you can try the headphone with the phone. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? It's a new phone. There's no phone jack on here.
Oh, you know the phone jacks. Yes. You know, those people keep trying to get us to buy new phones,
and they just keep messing us up.
They keep. 1 minute we have the little thingy, the little stick thingy. Next thing we have the flat whatever, right?
And I looked at my earbuds, and I was like, I don't need them.
Yeah.
Should have went with my gut. That's what happens.
Yes.
We have to understand when
that's
dealing with
narcissists. Go ahead.
When we're dealing with a narcissist, we got to trust our gut.
Yeah.
We got to know when to leave.
Okay, pause. So Marcia is saying when you're dealing with a narcissist, you have to trust your gut. You have to know when to leave. Okay, that gut feeling, that trust your gut feeling. What does that mean? Trust your gut.
You know when you're being mistreated. You know your gut is saying something's not right. You may not be able to pinpoint it directly.
Yeah.
But you know something doesn't feel good.
So the key is it doesn't feel good for you. Okay. So if something is happening with another human being in your relating that doesn't feel good for you, you don't have to have, you're saying, I don't need to have proof. I don't need to have them say yes or no, this is what's happening. You're saying you have a right to start asking yourself questions and start planning to make different choices.
Because ask yourself, if you are in a situation and your gut is saying it's time to go, there's danger, or driving down the street, make a right, not a left, there's some danger. When you're so used to listening to your spirit, right? So what that's going to require is you getting to know your own voice. To know when it's saying this isn't good for you. The physical dynamics is when you find yourself being overly anxious, when you can't sleep because you're overly concerned about them discarding you, when you are going back on your word, your commitment to yourself. Those are key indicators you need to evaluate and maybe come up with an exit plan.
Okay, so you're saying what you want to look out for people is if you're feeling overly anxious, if you're feeling overly anxious when you're thinking about that relationship with that person, if it's keeping you up at night. And what is the third one?
Overly anxious, keeping you up at night.
You said something real, like, sometimes I think we get these downloads as therapists, right? Where I swear, if I had to repeat it, I cannot.
I tell my clients all the time, listen, you better get it. It's coming hot off the press. I can't guarantee I will remember.
Seriously. But the point you're making is both of these things have left you unsettled. There were symptoms of being unsettled. You're not feeling good about this. And it's okay to say no to continuing the relationship in the way that you've been moving in the relationship.
Well, one of the biggest coping mechanisms of dealing with a narcissist, boundaries. You have to give yourself permission to set boundaries.
I think people have a hard time understanding what boundaries are.
They do.
What does that mean, setting boundaries?
So establishing boundaries is actually the rules of engagement for those who deal with you.
Wow. Okay, so the rules so if somebody wants to deal with me, they have to know this is what I'm comfortable with, this is what I'm not comfortable with. Okay.
And I usually put it in 3 categories. My areas of flexibility.
Your areas of flexibility, meaning, okay, I can play with that. I'm not really gung-ho about this. I can take it or leave it, but it's important, okay?
My absolute yes.
My absolute list? Yes. My absolute yes.
Absolutely have to.
I must have this in my relationship with this person, or else they gotta go. Okay.
And my absolute no's.
And my absolute no's. Okay, I will never do a certain thing. Or if this thing happens, it's an absolute nah. We're not doing this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so when you do that,
so it's a yes. You have your category of yes, no's, maybe.
Flexible.
If I'm feeling like it. Flexibility. Okay. Okay.
And the reason why that's so important is, one, you teach people how to treat you.
You teach people how to treat you. Oh my God. The first person I heard say that, and I was like, I don't understand, was Bishop T.D. Jakes a long time ago. I would hear him say that and I was like, I don't understand. What do you mean I'm teaching them to be a jackass? Yeah, and I finally, over time, of course, I came to understand what that meant.
Because even with your mom, after you get to a certain age, not under their household anymore, you teach them how to communicate with you.
Right.
You teach them, for example, there are some mothers who disrespect their daughter's home.
Yeah.
They'll come in, try to take over, and then become upset when the daughter puts them in place. And then they try to manipulate the grandbabies.
Mothers and mothers-in-law who will come into an adult woman's house and try to start directing the adult person's traffic. Yeah. When and they also have their own home. Yeah.
That's why boundaries are important.
Yeah.
I remember before my mother passed, I would come home from work and say, "What did you cook?" She was like, "This your kitchen."
Exactly. You wish she had broken those boundaries.
But I set the boundaries, right? And so I had to remind myself my reason for my boundaries.
Yes.
Because when I was a young mother, I remembered my mom trying to overparent me.
Yes.
And it actually caused a rift between me and my son.
So, okay, pause. So you said, what you're recalling is the importance of setting those boundaries for you. Because when you were a young mother, you remember your mother trying to overparent you to the point where it impacted your bond, your relationship with your child.
Yes.
So many of our mothers do this, though. We gotta pause. We gotta sit on this for a little while. Like, so many mothers do this. Your daughter has a baby and you're happy, you're excited, she's got a baby. And yes, it's traditional for many families to go help her because she needs help. But then when you go there, you won't allow her to figure it out, to be the mom she wants to be with her child. You wants to be there directing traffic, telling her, not like that, do it like this, not like this. Oh, move, let me do it. That's the word.
There are a lot of new grandparents say that. These kids don't want to listen to nothing I got to say. Like it ain't had a baby. It's not your baby.
It's not your baby. Grandma, it's not your baby, Grandma.
And people laugh at me because I know my lane with the 10 grandchildren. My lane is over here. If you ask me, I'll offer.
Yes.
But it's not my job.
It's not. And they get really, and a narcissistic mother will get insanely hurt.
Not only that,
and
they'll manipulate the grandchildren. Why you treating grandma like that?
Yeah.
Don't do her like that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's a cycle.
Yeah.
And so as you're going through learning how to cope with a narcissistic mother, outside of establishing those boundaries, you have to recognize when that manipulation is increasing and back away.
So you're saying the more they're putting out towards you that's negative is the further away you get out of their reach. Okay.
Because the moment that you try to validate your position, the moment that you begin to beg them to see you, manipulation.
Yeah.
You're back on the hook.
Yeah.
But if you don't allow yourself to cave in, I'm famous for saying, telling my clients, well, if your mama's making you feel guilty about you being born, you have to remind her you weren't there when she had sex. So you had nothing to do with it.
You had nothing to do with the sex, with the sex and the baby making.
Exactly. Because you're taking out on me your choice.
Yes.
I wasn't there. Of course, it's going to upset a narcissist. Why would you just respect me? I'm just saying. And
it's the truth. It's the truth. Yeah. So when somebody says, what held me to my parents was being called disrespectful. And that honor your parents thing that we're taught, which is a value. It's a beautiful thing. But, how far do I go in the honoring of an abuser?
So I said this to the therapist. The Bible says, children, honor your parents. It's right for the Lord.
Yeah.
That's just the one scripture.
Yeah.
The scripture immediately following.
Yeah.
Parents don't provoke their children to anger.
Exactly. That is
parents
true.
forget that part.
Yeah.
And they want to stick you to this honor.
Yeah.
You have to decide that me standing up for myself is not me disrespecting them. It's kind of like us standing against racism is not standing against white people.
Exactly. It's so different. Exactly.
I'm not standing against you as my parent.
Yeah.
I am standing against you disrespecting me as a human.
Yes. So if to be my parent, you must disrespect me in your mind, we don't need to have a relationship, is what you're saying. If for you as the parent, I need the right to be able to disrespect my child, then this child is saying, no.
Right.
This is one absolute no.
That's an absolute no.
It's an absolute no.
Because would you tolerate that from anyone else?
He wouldn't tolerate it from anyone else. No. But then as you were saying earlier, it's similar to how you would advise a woman or a man who's in a domestic violence situation, that be very sure that when you make that decision to stand up to this person, that you've made a plan for how you will care for yourself, how you will deal if they discard you, if they never talk to you again. So a Facebook user says, hence the gray rock. So tell everybody again, what is gray rocking? What does it mean to act like a gray rock?
So the gray rock is really a funny phenomenon, because when you think about a gray rock, you just blend in.
You just blend in.
And so when you think about that gray rock, you have to identify, I see your manipulation, I see your abuse, now I'm going to go over here.
Yes.
I'm going to pull myself into a space that I don't have to be drawn into this emotional drama that you're trying to deliver.
Does the person who's going to apply that gray rocking, where they pull themselves out of reach, and they're not highly emotional in their responses,
they become
unresponsive. Yeah,
it
like
doesn't
a
matter
rock. Like a rock. Okay, y'all. Okay.
It's like they're going and you're like this.
Yeah.
Because I can't show you you're emotionally antagonizing me.
So does the person who's going into that gray rock stance, do you have to explain to the person who's being the narcissist?
Why would you do that? Because then if I explain that I've shut you out, you're going to keep trying to find a point of vulnerability,
the weak spot,
and interest.
Yeah.
And then you're going to enter into that space.
Okay, y'all. Important. So the gray rocking, you don't have to give whomever it is any notice that I'm sliding over here to take care of myself. Just do your move, because if you inform, in a sense, you're forewarning a person, I'm getting ready to go over there, okay? And be by myself. And then you give them an opening before you have gotten yourself out of their reach to find your weak points and your vulnerabilities and reel you back in.
Yep.
Wow.
And see, I don't call it gray rock, I call it stone face.
You call it stone face. Yeah. Stone face. Yeah.
There's no emotion. In the back of my head, I may be cussing you out.
Yeah.
But you won't get any emotional response from me.
Yeah.
Because I know you're waiting for that point of entry.
You know, I think the other important thing is to know that regardless of how many times you explain, this person's not necessarily going to change. Tomorrow it's going to be something different.
Narcissists don't need to change. It's not a requirement for them.
Oh.
It's a requirement for you to determine where you're going to disperse your energy.
So then you're saying, if my mother's a narcissist, I should stop trying to fix her, and I should apply that energy to myself.
Absolutely. Because the thing is, there's nothing that you can say to a narcissist that's going to make them change. Because they've already believed in their source.
Yeah.
So if a nail is already in the ground, why are you still hammering it, thinking it's going further?
Yeah.
It's already reached its peak.
Yeah. So the energy, that takes intention and practice and doing to that, because that's a lot of emotional energy, because it's a lot of rage and a lot of sadness, a lot of frustration that you're having towards that parent. And now you're having to focusedly, consciously, purposefully take that back, taking your power back. All that power, like, energy you're pushing out there, you have to bring it back towards yourself.
Right.
And decide, well, how am I going to love myself? How am I going to stand up for myself? How am I going to gray rock? I need to read some more. I have a user. We have somebody here who is really, you seem like you have been through the ringer and you have learned some good skills to survive. Some very beautiful skills like gray rocking, and, this person is really, the way they're describing their emotions, you can feel the humanity in it, which is, hey, I'm a human being. I love them. I love my parents. I love their cooking. And, they used it to reel me back in, but I'm practicing using skills like the gray rock to save myself.
Here's something else to add to that. Don't take it personally.
Oh, don't take it personally.
Their manipulation, their abuse is not about you.
It's really not.
It's about them.
It's really not about you.
And when you can think at it from that perspective, that's empowering you to see you.
I think that also leaves a little space for having some compassion for the other human being and whatever their story is, whatever their experiences were. So we're not just looking at them like, because again, the way we hear people talk about narcissistic people, oh, he's a narcissist, like scum of the earth. But they're in our houses though. They're our dads, they're our moms, our sisters, our husbands.
But in this age, the term narcissist is being thrown around like ADHD.
I agree.
And a lot of people really don't understand what narcissism is.
Can you give a little bit of a clearer definition? Yeah.
So take for example, you're in a relationship. You've given all of you to the relationship, and you decide to do something for yourself. Immediately, you're named a narcissist because you're being told you're selfish. That doesn't make you a narcissist. People are abusing that and trying to manipulate the fact that people want to do something for themselves as selfish.
Right.
But if I don't do something for me, and I don't prioritize me, who will?
Who is? Isn't that my responsibility?
Yeah. And yes, I'm going to do what I can to enhance the relationship, but it should not come at my sacrifice.
It should not. It should not. Oh. So there is a difference between a person could have narcissistic traits, but they could have full-blown narcissistic personality disorder.
Right.
What's the difference?
So a narcissistic trait, you may have that trait of putting yourself first or feeling yourself successful, talking yourself up, things of that nature.
Yeah.
But you don't manipulate.
Okay.
So I can have a narcissistic trait of I see myself as in an auditorium,
I'm a star.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of what you call it, American Idol, and there was this guy who came, the little guy, she bang. He couldn't sing, but he thought he could.
But he believed in himself.
Yes. So that's high belief in yourself to think you're that good. Like many people that they show up on American Idol, like let's go.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Well, think about this. I was listening to Viola Davis's book, phenomenal book. Y'all need to read it, listen to it. What it reminded me of is through the traumatic childhood that she experienced, she kept telling herself, I want to act.
Yeah.
She did not take the thought of I want to act into manipulation.
Yes.
She honed her skill.
Yeah.
She went into herself and believed in herself.
Yeah.
But she
What
didn't
might it have
manipulate.
looked like if she had taken it into manipulation? If
So
she had
then-
taken that idea, so she's going through all of these traumatic events as a child, but she keeps inspiring herself into it, bigging herself up, building herself up by saying, I'm going to act. And you say, yeah, but she did not turn it and take it into a manipulation sort of.
She did not try to take advantage of other people
Gotcha.
to reach that goal. She did not look for others to put her on a pedestal
Yeah.
and keep her there.
Yeah.
She just did self-encouragement.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, when we think of celebrities and things of that nature, we'll say, oh, they have a big head, or they think they're better.
Yeah.
Well, they had to go inward. It's kind of like Michael Jordan, Kobe, and all of them playing basketball. They had to go inside themselves and see what their goals were,
Right.
but they didn't manipulate. So narcissistic behaviors, Freud said, is healthy to have some narcissistic traits.
Yes, yes, yes.
The narcissistic personality disorder is how they are able to manipulate, draw you in, discard you.
Yeah.
That's the difference. In
So
fact,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to read from the DSM-5. Okay, y'all. So all mental health professionals have to use a standardized. We use the same, we call it the Bible, psychological Bible in a sense, right? Psychiatrists use it, psychologists, LPCs, licensed professional counselors. If you're a mental health professional, this is where you go to see, well, okay, does this person meet criteria for this diagnosis that I'm feeling like they have? Okay, so there's some general criteria for a personality disorder in general, and narcissistic personality is one of those. So it says the essential features of a personality disorders are impairments in your personality, like yourself, your personality, impairments in within yourself, and interpersonally between other people, like in your relationships and your functioning, and the presence of pathological personality traits. Pathological means, think of pathological as nasty, like they're not good, dark. To diagnose a personality disorder, you must have these criteria. 1, significant impairment. An impairment means, hey, it's broken, it's not working well. In yourself, in your identity or your self-direction, and interpersonal functioning. Problems with empathy, problems with intimacy. Okay, pause. I know we're talking about mothers here, but again, these traits are in human beings. If you have a person who cannot feel compassion for you, or when you try to connect, they cause this little crises, or they pull back. Yeah, some of them pull back, or they engulf you. They attempt to engulf you. Like to just, you have no more friends. Everything we do has got to be together, just the two of us. It's pathological because it's out of balance.
Right.
Yeah. You might have impairments in your personality functioning, and personality trait express. I'm using those big words, but I'm just going to read it for you and then I'll give a little bit of a synopsis, right? You have impairments in personality functioning, and the individual's personality trait expression are relatively stable across time and consistent across situations. That means who you see is who's there. They ain't going to change. It's consistent. They're like that with June, Jack, Johnny, at church, at home, at school, on the job. Okay, so you're not going to change a narcissist. That's their personality structure. Think of the structure of your personality like a house. Except if a big old storm comes, that house is not going to blow down. So sometimes you have some people who can really make a shift. Very few. So in this field, we don't think strongly that people with personality disorders change much. But you might have a few, you might have a very low percentage. Think of a person who, like, sometimes a person will really have had a transformative experience, like some people call it a born again experience, where they now go into learning essentially how to be a good human being. And it's painful for them. They go to therapy. It's painful. It's hard work.
It's painful for the therapist.
It's Oh, yes. It is painful for the therapist because we got to sit with a person who is very unlike many or most people, right? And you have to listen to the way they're thinking, and you're like, okay, how do I work? Many therapists have difficulty, let's say, because it takes a lot of emotional energy to be with a person like that, who in a way is like a baby. You have to teach how to be human in the way we are human in this life. What are your thoughts on that?
I absolutely agree that we have to understand what the impairment is, and then understand the balance for yourself. Are my traits an impairment?
Yeah.
My mother's traits an impairment. I'll throw another word in on top of the DSM, gaslighting.
Oh, yes. Ooh, yes, Lord.
Where mom denies that you experience what you experience.
Yeah.
Tell you you're too sensitive because they're impaired, right? They put accountability on you, but never themselves.
Yeah.
They make you feel like you're losing your mind. What's wrong with me? Right? So when you think about how the DSM aligns those symptoms, those must-need, must-have symptoms, you recognize that is this actually an impairment?
It is.
And it is.
It is. It's an impairment because how can you relate? How can you reasonably relate to a human being who, when you tell them what you're feeling, they're trying to tell you, no, you're not feeling what you're feeling? How soon before you decide, I'm done with this conversation? There you have breaks. You can't keep up a relationship with a person who is telling you you're crazy. What they said yesterday is not what you heard yesterday. Or you are over dramatic. Why are you so sensitive? Why are you you're just making a mountain
making a big deal.
Stop. Why are you making a big deal? Yeah, it's your birthday, but I told you I don't like birthdays. Why are you just always complaining about your birthday? It's just how I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I enjoy it if when you say happy birthday to me. I have a right to enjoy it. No, you have a right to not say happy birthday to me too. Yes, but the fact that I'm complaining or I want more, it doesn't make me locosito for this.
Right. One of the things that I would tell anyone with a narcissist, you have to decide, how much energy you want to give them.
Absolutely. You have to decide how much energy you're going to give to a person who you sense, read, feel enough discomfort, and your antennas going off. Ding, 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 ding. This is not in the normative. This is unusual. Yeah.
The other thing that I would suggest, work with a therapist.
Absolutely.
Because you have to build that skill on making an escape plan.
Absolutely.
Because we got to reverse. Yeah, we got to reverse all of that negative narrative.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't be you ain't got but one mama. You're right. I got one.
Yeah.
But I deserve to be treated well as well.
Yeah. There's a lot of programming that has to be undone. There's a lot of programming that has to be undone. And look, I grew up Christian, but I know we have used the Bible as punishment. We have used the Bible as a weapon against children. When you teach a child, yes, honor your mother and your father. But does that mean I must stay there, let them kill me?
Right. Like I told you, people stop at the honor the mother and father, and they don't go to the provoke. Nothing.
They forget, do not provoke your children to wrath.
And because of that, there are a lot of adults that are broken.
Absolutely.
They're still searching for answers.
Yes.
But what I would share with our audience tonight is identify your own worth.
You identify your own worth. You don't need a reference point. You don't need a supporter. You don't need to check. You don't need validation from anybody else. You decide your own worth. And there are too many people walking around. There are just too many people walking around. Oh, I don't know. Am I good enough? Should I? Would I? It's got to stop.
I have a sign in my home office that has a woman standing like this that says, "I don't need your permission to be great."
No.
Just don't.
You do not. You do not. Like, many people are stopping themselves again, and I understand it from a lot of that kind of programming and training and words that have been said to them, like, you'll never be good enough. That mother who, again, they're in church every Sunday. They're on the first pew in church, decked out with the hat and the purse to match. And all their friends, oh, and so is here, so-and-so is here. But when you go home, you are the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst. The kinds of words that leave their mouths, nothing to do with love, nothing to do with love.
Nothing at all.
All of this, this stuff you have to take responsibility now, because now you're an adult and you've heard these words. You've heard what Marcia said. You need to work with a therapist. Yes. You need to work with a therapist.
But you need to work with a therapist that understands trauma. Not just a talk therapist.
No.
You need someone that really understands trauma and then can help guide you through.
Well, why not? Why not just a regular person who does talk therapy?
Because if they really don't
therapists don't know what they're doing?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying that therapists are trained in different areas of focus.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And if you're coming to me with major trauma, and I don't know how to help you address the trauma, I will cause you to be more damaged.
Yes.
Because you'll walk away thinking you can't be fixed in a sense, or you're too far gone.
Yes.
You want someone that understands the language of what you're going through.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, okay. So every therapist is trained and qualified. But like I said on the onset, I have not focused on narcissistic personality disorder. So I couldn't call myself a narcissistic personality disorder expert. Yeah. You've got to look for, you've got to research, you got to find people who focus, who specialize. Yeah, it's just like you have medical doctors. You have a doctor who is an ENT. You have one who's for your eyes, somebody for internal medicine, a psychiatrist. It's the same thing when you're looking for therapy to heal, to reorder yourself from a childhood with a mother like that. Yeah, because you're right, Marcia. Somebody could easily say something like, oh, well, let's change your thoughts about this, without necessarily paying attention to all of the traumatic debris and the residue,
Or if you have a therapist who is still under that umbrella of thought, that's your mom.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not going to understand.
if you go to, say, like a pastoral counselor who's like, well, the Bible says you still got to honor your mother, and it's Mother's Day, so you better say Happy Mother's Day. Meanwhile, no. You need to find a therapist who has been trained in trauma.
Yes.
And some people make the argument that if you're a therapist, you've gotten training in trauma treatment, but there are levels to everything.
There are
levels to everything. Yeah.
And a lot of therapists oftentimes stay away from the root. And the root is in the childhood. I am a firm believer that if we can identify the first entry point of trauma, you can heal.
I agree. I am with you too. I'm a firm believer that if we can get to the source, back to the root, look, we can shake it up. You know, we might be able to do some patching. Yes. Yeah, you got to start, because or else very often, yes. So, okay, so imagine the person's life as a tree. So I come to the therapist and we talk, which are the leaves of the tree. You know, we change our cognitive belief systems. Yes. But we are human beings. We have memories. We have memory. Memory is important. And so yes, I know what to do in the moment. Yes. But I'm still holding all this pain from the memories, and I have not done anything with it.
And I'm just waiting for that one soggy rain that will cause my roots to lay me over.
I know, and yeah, there are other ways to do that. Yeah.
Yes.
So Phyllis says, keep talking. I like that. Good evening, Petra. And Phyllis says they don't see, they think it's normal. She was talking about the gaslighting, where they're like, what? Why are you making such a big deal of this? I only said such and such. This is what gaslighting sounds like, y'all.
Why are you being so sensitive? You always take things too far.
Always in your feelings, always exaggerating. And I gotta admit, you know, there are points in any relating experience where you might do that to the other person. But once your attention is brought to this thing, look, you, in the normal sense of things, a person will be like, oh, I didn't realize I said that, or I meant that. I didn't mean it to sound that way. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll try to say it differently another time. If you have a person who keeps doubling down on you, trying to hold their point and convince you that they are still correct, gray rocking. We need to have some distance. And
it's really, it starts with giving yourself permission. Giving yourself permission to know that it's okay for you to be a priority for you. Giving yourself permission to know that it's okay to establish those boundaries and expectations. And giving yourself permission to go away.
And you know, that word, giving yourself permission, that phrase, giving yourself permission, is very important, because I think a lot of us, again, because of grooming and the way we're raised, we often had to raise our hands. Can I go to the bathroom? Can I go outside? Can I speak now? And you're not a child anymore. You're an adult now. So you don't need to ask anyone for permission.
Right.
Yeah. Let it go.
Just give it to yourself.
Yeah. Just let it go. Yeah. When somebody was said gaslighting, and Rodmaker says, say it again, my friend. Yes, sir. Thank you for saying that. I don't need validation. My worth is valid. You are valid just because you exist. You are. You don't need to compare yourself or be next to anybody to be like, okay, I'm more valuable or I'm less valuable. No, you are completely valuable, and there's no other. It's impossible to use other people as reference points, because this in statistics, to compare, you need the same thing, don't you? But I mean, we're not the exact same thing. I'm completely different than you.
Right.
So you can't use the other person as a, no.
And if you're going to compete with yourself.
Yes.
I'm going to be better today than I was yesterday.
Yeah.
That's it.
That is it. So change the words you're using to speak to yourself, and catch yourself when that mind, that brain of ours wants to go left. Okay, reel it back in. Bring it back into the truth. For those of you who are Christian, even the Bible talks about like capturing thoughts. You gotta you gotta go out and look and bring it back. Come back in line. You are out of order. You're not
use
a victim.
your words.
Use your words. Use your words. You're not the victim of your thoughts. You can decide new things. Again, you don't need permission. You can make a new decision today. You can decide a new thing. Yesterday, all up to yesterday, for as long as I can remember, I used to do this. Today, I can make a different choice. Why? Because I want to. Simple as that. Simple as that. I don't need to call 5 people to ask if they're on board with me making this new choice. I'm a grown person. I decide.
Yeah.
You have a right. You have a right. Okay, so a few more thoughts, and then we start wrapping up. So some signs, just to review, that your mother might be a narcissist. She doesn't respect your boundaries, right?
Yes. She doesn't respect your boundaries.
Yes.
Lacks empathy.
Lacks empathy.
Oh, Monica came up. She makes you feel like you're overly sensitive.
She makes you feel like you're overly sensitive. I have one thing. Talk about the grudges. The grudges. Talk about those. Talk about that. That's a big piece of narcissistic behavior. People who hold grudges. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
She holds grudges just like she competes against you. So the grudge is, I'm going to always remember you knocked my pedestal down.
Yeah.
So everything that I do is going to be to demean you.
Yes.
And I'm not going to forget. So anyone that will hear my story, I'm going to let them know that you're bad.
So even if you show that mother the truth, even if they see evidence, honey.
Narcissists can't see evidence. They can't see facts. They won't receive truth. They won't stand up for accountability. So what you're saying is you want me to apply logic to an illogical situation.
Yeah, it's not going to work. So the idea where, oh, well, if I just talk to them one more time, let me really explain my side, they'll understand. Nuh-uh.
And then you're going to walk away feeling this big.
Yeah. I just wasted my time. It was pointless. I left feeling, it's called crazy making. They'll say so much stuff there to you. You'll start wondering if you are coming or going.
And narcissistic mothers are real good at being the victim.
Absolutely.
I guess I wasn't a good mother then.
And they do these things. They say that, oh, I guess. And then what they're trying to get you to do is to now explain why. Oh, but you were a good mother, but you were a good mother. So you can blow a little bit more smoke up there. Narcissistic supply. Yeah, up their nostrils. They want you to blow a little bit more smoke up their nostrils.
And you have to
recognize that. Did I do that?
Exactly. And you have to remember that when they go into victim mode, that's your gray rock moment.
When they go into but this is very hard though. This is very challenging because, okay, so the narcissist goes into their victim mode. All your little heartstrings, as the empathic person that you are, empath, you feel everything. You want to heal the world, make it a better place. All right. You want to fix your mama. This is your opportunity. You think finally she's going to listen to me because I can really be there for her. What you're saying is now is the time to actually activate the gray rock when they go into victim mode. Right there, right there. Pretend nothing to see here. Busy, nothing to see here. You heard that?
I just can't believe you treated me like this. I raised you. See, I'm not confirming or denying.
Yeah. You don't confirm nor deny. Breathe, engage your breath to slow your breathing down so that you can decrease your own anxiety, because your automatic response is going to be one of stress, right? Fight, flight. Let me explain.
So you
breathe.
You recenter, and then leave.
Yeah. Unplug yourself from the situation, because it's a power thing, and power is about energy. So this person is actually like they're pulling. It's an attempt to suck your energy, the energy from your battery. And so you being there, look, is a way to feed that energy. So you got to unplug. You got to shut it down. Shut down your emotionality. It's going to feel like Marcia said earlier, like in the back of your head, you're fighting. You could be fighting 10 battles in the back of your head. Oh my God, whatever. But your facial expression goes to almost nothing. As soon as you can escape, leave the environment, you do it. Okay, we're listening.
You know that movie, Get Out?
Yes.
Where the lady is like, no. That's your no, don't try to fix them.
Yeah.
No, don't try to explain yourself.
Yeah.
No, don't decrease your boundaries.
Yeah.
And no, you don't have to tolerate it.
You know that not explaining yourself is such a hard trap to avoid. I think,
well, it's a hard trap to avoid when you allow the guilt to get to you.
The guilt. Okay.
See, if you're not guilty of anything that the narcissist is trying to make you feel guilt about,
yeah,
what are you explaining?
Exactly. I'm not guilty of this. Yeah.
See, when you go and you raise your right hand on the Bible and sitting in court,
yeah,
and you saying, I'm going to plead the fifth,
yeah,
because you're not going to cater to whatever's going on.
Yeah.
Same process.
Yeah.
So some of those are guilty.
Okay. So with guilt, one thing I might suggest is to remember that everybody has a right. You have a right. Your parent has a right to think a certain thing, to feel a certain thing, and to do a certain thing. So if the thing you did didn't break a law, it didn't break a rule, it didn't physically hurt your mother, let it go. You have leeway now. Let it go. Yeah, let it go. Yeah.
If you don't remember anything else tonight, just remember it's not your job to fix it.
Yeah, it's not your job. Oh my gosh. And little kids will decide, oh, it's my job to fix my parent, you know. And that child grows up into an adult who keeps that kind of feeling like they've got to rescue the parent who is playing the victim, who is
Yeah.
So this is why you must work with a therapist to help you learn these skills, learn the hows, and to have an ally to support you through that kind of process, and to have that naked person you can be naked with, like Marcia says, who you tell your person who's your person, hey, I don't need you to fix it tonight. I just need to vent. Yeah, I just need to vent tonight. Remind us about the flying monkeys. Who are the flying monkeys? Flying monkeys, in my understanding, are those people that the narcissistic mother or person might recruit, the cheerleaders. They recruit them to go do the dirty work so they keep their hands clean. Yeah, they call everybody and tell them how horrible you are. Next thing, your auntie's calling you, your grandmother's calling you, dad's calling you. What did you do? What did you do? Enablers. Somebody says enablers. Yeah.
Yes.
But some of them don't see it that way. They don't think they're enabling. So that's where you have to know You know what's going on. You've done nothing to feel guilty for or about. You're gray rocking.
And you don't have to prove to them either.
You don't have to prove to them either. Yeah.
When the flying monkeys try to approach you about the situation, gray rock them.
Yeah. You heard that? Gray rock them too. Gray rock them too.
Because you get the right to disperse your energy the way you desire.
How you want. You get to disperse your energy or share your energy how you want. If you don't want to talk about a certain topic anymore, you can't force me to talk. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I am not comfortable talking about this right now. I understand you want to hear about what happened last night with Mom, but I don't feel comfortable talking about it right now.
One of my absolute boundaries is no one can call me to gossip. Because I know, and this is an old saying that the old people said, a dog that'll carry a bone will walk away and bring a bone too.
That's right.
I don't care who it is.
That's right.
You can't call me with gossip.
That's right.
I'm the queen of cutoff.
Yeah.
Girl, okay, I'm going to have to call you later. And then they don't get a call back.
Yeah.
Because you broke my boundaries. Because it's not unknown. When you establish your boundaries, and the cheerleaders, the flying monkeys come to you, you already know when the phone rings what they want.
Exactly.
Why are you answering?
I know, right? These days we have caller ID. You get to not answer. You get to block people. You don't owe anybody. That's person's coming to pull your energy from you. No. Somebody says, you get a gray rock. You get a gray rock. All y'all get a gray rock. That's right. We just gray rocking everybody. The word for the night is gray rock. Okay, what else? What else would you want everybody to remember?
Assess your own vulnerabilities.
Assess your own vulnerabilities. Like where are you
weak? You want to identify where your areas of improvement or ability to be entered. I don't believe in weaknesses, but I just think it's a negative connotation. But I believe that we all have areas that we can improve and that can make us vulnerable. You need to assess those. Let's go back to the young lady that was reeled back in with good food. That's an area of vulnerability. I'm not talking to my mom, so here comes guilt. That's an area of vulnerability. You want to assess those and identify how you can reconstruct those areas so that they can be a benefit and not a liability.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I hear you in large measure encouraging people to educate themselves on what narcissistic behavior looks like in real life. So that they can create a plan of action, essentially.
Because if you don't know, that lack of knowledge can have you so drawn in that you stop believing in yourself.
That's the worst. That is the worst. That is where we go into chronic PTSD. That's where we go into chronic PTSD, where your character, your personhood, your who you are starts to change, and that is not good.
And contrary to popular belief, PTSD is not only for combat veterans.
Exactly.
I don't know what the audience is or the makeup of the audience, but I can tell you very few people, Black people, don't have PTSD.
Exactly.
The rest of us, you do.
Exactly. Because even those who've been spared in this iteration of our life from experiencing something we might call traumatic, a lot of this trauma has been transferred through our DNA. It's been transferred. There's research to show this. Okay, so you right now, you're acting, you're doing stuff, you're like, well, how is this? I didn't learn this from my parents. Da, 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 da. You've got
It's a transfer.
DNA. Yes, it's DNA transfer.
So ask yourself if you find yourself being easily irritated, sleep disturbances, nightmares, recurring dreams,
drinking too much,
drugs, being anxious when you know you have to go around family.
Yeah.
All of those are signs of PTSD.
Yeah.
So when you're working with a therapist, when I say you want someone that understands trauma,
absolutely,
and how to pull you back from that, that is why.
Absolutely.
If you grew up under the thumb of a narcissistic mother, you have PTSD.
You do. And you have chronic PTSD.
Chronic.
You have chronic, complex PTSD. So that requires someone who has specialized knowledge. Okay? Yeah. There's a no contact technique I'd love for you to talk a little bit about.
Oh, I love the no contact. Because the no contact techniques gives me permission to establish my boundaries and my protection.
Yeah.
It is okay for no contact.
It is okay.
It is okay to look at that phone and don't answer.
Yeah.
It is okay not to respond to the text. It's okay if you're at such a high place of anxiety.
Yeah.
To block.
Absolutely.
So the no contact actually is a very strong protective measure for you.
Yeah.
In doing that, that's your permission to say, I have to put me first.
Yes.
Yeah. So the best revenge against a narcissist, no contact.
No contact. Y'all heard this? The best revenge against a narcissistic human being who is not caring about you, and you have enough evidence, you've tried, you've twisted, you've bent over backwards, you've tried to understand their perspective, but still it's coming at you, is no contact. Yeah.
And if you're in a situation in a room with them and they begin to start that manipulation,
breathe
and walk away.
Yes. Okay.
Come on, babies, let's go.
Breathe and unplug from the source. Yeah. Walk away with your energy. Yeah. Marcia, I am so grateful to you tonight. I know we had a little bit of working with echo, and I think narcissists just wanted to show up a little bit. And how can people connect with you? Because right now you are doing professional speaking on narcissistic behavior. You did a wonderful presentation for the therapists. What was it? What association was it? Of Georgia?
It was Licensed Professional Counselors of Georgia.
Licensed Professional Counselors of Georgia, LPCGA. Marcia just did a fabulous, wonderful presentation on narcissistic behavior, and I hear she got rave reviews. So if you're looking for somebody in your network to talk about narcissistic behavior, to treat trauma from narcissistic behavior, or if you yourself think the stuff you all talked about tonight, that's me in any way, I want you, Marcia, to offer your contact. We're not going no contact. We're going full contact. Yeah.
So you can always contact me on peculiar1.com.
Peculiar1.com.
And that's the number one.
Number one.
You can find me on YouTube under Authentically Peculiar with Marcia.
Authentically Peculiar with Marcia. I'm going to type this in the chart. Marcia, or I will type it for you all tonight, okay? So you'll get it. And then So you're on Facebook, Instagram,
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram, Peculiar One Counseling. Yeah, all of that. I can't remember my TikTok name, but I show a little love.
Her website is easy.
Yeah, the website is easy. You can always get in contact.
Yeah, you can always get in touch with Marcia at marciablaine.com. Okay, Marcia Blaine, BLANE.com. I again want to tell you thank you so much. I want to do a quick summary again, y'all. If you have lived with, are living with a narcissistic mother or person, we'll talk about them in relationships soon, okay? Marcia says, set boundaries, detach, unplug when it's too much for you. Trust your body to clue you in with those signs of anxiety that you'll be feeling. Gray rock them. You get a gray rock. You get a gray rock. You all get a gray rock. Okay? Understand that this person's not going to change. You love them. You wish they would change. It's okay to wish, but they're not going to change. Okay? Plan your responses for them. Pre-plan. So kind of have a little script in your head for what you're going to say to them or those flying monkeys, those people who work on their behalf. Have what you're going to say that is respectful so you can still maintain your relationships with your auntie and your grandmother when they call. And most importantly, focus on your own healing. All of that energy that you're putting out towards trying to run after them, towards trying to console, towards trying to explain, towards trying to make them see your point of view, leave it alone. All of this is outward energy that you're giving out. You need it for yourself because you have a lot of healing to do.
Yes.
Okay? You got a lot of healing to do.
You deserve the healing.
You deserve the healing. You deserve the healing. You didn't ask them to enjoy sex and produce you, did you? So you can't still be paying for that. All right? You deserve the healing. You are worthy of the healing. And hopefully the skills you use and you learn, you transpose that to other areas of your life where it becomes applicable. Okay? Yeah. So I will see you all next week, Lord willing. Marcia, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Yes, y'all. Remember to think better so you can feel better and do better. Peace.